they were not able to economically justify putting single-family homes or fourplexes in there, which is how it got approved for multifamily development. And if you allow this, or if you don't allow this, it may be not economical for them to proceed. And I don't quite understand what you said about the beauty of and the pitch of the roof line, and that you'd still squeeze 66 units in there, but it probably becomes not economical for them to do this. So it's not totally a done deal. You're not totally wasting your time here, we hope. And that is what's happened in the past.
Well, that's why I asked my question, that if you were restricted to the 40 feet, you'd still would have 66 units regardless?
Probably,
Okay.
right around that, 60 to 66 units.
Okay.
But I'm just saying is that for building purposes, we'd like to have more room. And and our architect's saying shoot for 49, because that's probably what it's gonna be. Probably the height of that door, slightly higher than that, and that will be it.
Then why are you asking for 55 feet if it's going to be 49?
We asked for it because if we needed some wiggle room. But I can tell you, I mean, if you want to make it 49 or 50.
I would add that the request or the suggestion to increase or to go a little above was at my suggestion, because we've seen that in other projects where you have kind of an idea and some conditions may change as they go through, as they go to, actual design of the planning and get further into it. And then we don't want to have someone come back and say, well, I need to increase it 6 inches or a foot or 2 feet. The idea is that you can approve it a little bit higher, but then with the intent to come in as low as possible.
The other question that I'm still unclear on, is there going to be a linking road between the two buildings?
What?
Is there going to be a linking driveway between the two buildings?
We're not planning on it unless the city wants like a emergency escape or something, that we'd put some, it wouldn't be it would be more like a gravel area that for that type of thing, but no.
You have the mic?
Everything's gonna go out on that private road and out. I'm sorry. We're going to use the private road for our access in and out.
He mentioned there could be, and this would yet to be determined if it goes forward. Sometimes there can be a requirement from a public safety standpoint for fire truck access, that they need to be able to basically get the biggest truck in there and maneuver it. So sometimes there can be a requirement for a secondary access, but that can be sometimes retained as an emergency, where there's knockdown bollards that prevent day-to-day use by a typical car or truck, but a emergency vehicle, a fire truck can get through there and if they absolutely have to. It's not meant to be used anything but an emergency, but that's all entirely conjecture at this point, that we haven't gotten to that point because we don't know if it'll go forward yet.
In listening to this conversation, it seems to me that if the builder can make a more aesthetically pleasing building, I don't know why we're quibbling between 48 or 55 feet. That's kind of a moot point, I think.
I have a question on the have you done any kind of a study as far as how many spots you actually are using at your other apartments, rather than just anecdotal evidence?
Parking spots, you mean?
Yeah, as far as the usage.
If you go out to our next door at Willow Park, we have this large parking lot, and there might be 4 cars in the lot, and it's set up for 120 cars.
So I'll piggyback off something Don said. If there was a connecting road and a connecting pedestrian path, if for some reason, if we grant a variance and we have fewer spots in the new parking lot, would it be viable to use your current parking lot? If for some reason this new parking lot isn't big enough, would it be viable to use the existing one for, if there was overflow parking at some point in the future?
I mean, maybe for some circumstances, but,
Or is it too far apart?
it's not so much it's too far apart. You know, we have buildings that are 55 plus, so we sort of know that group. And many apartments, they have no car. And almost no one has two cars. So we have 66 units. We'll probably only use 50. But we're setting it up. We have 66 under the building, and then we have another, I don't know, 75 or something out. There'll be a lot of parking, even now.
Bob, can you talk to your typical breakdown of your, I know you don't have a firm plan for this, but kind of your ratio of 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom and kind of how that works, because that could be a role in parking. I know we touched on that a little earlier.
Yeah, we'll have a mix of 2 bedrooms and 1 bedroom units. Some 2 bedrooms with 2 baths, with a den. Some 1 bedrooms with a den. But even that, in our buildings, even in a 2-bedroom apartment, it's mainly 1 person. In our 63 unit, we don't have, virtually every apartment, well, I would say 3/4 of the apartments, it's just 1 person that lives there, even though they want to have 2 bedrooms. And we have some 2 bedrooms with 2 baths, a single person will take that. There's not a lot of, you know, it's a lot elderly people, and their husband dies and they want to move somewhere and get out of their house, and they move into our apartments. You know, and that's another thing is the one aspect of this that we don't think about so much is that there's a need for affordable housing in the area. But these seniors don't want to move because they don't have anywhere to go to. They don't want to go to Country Manor because it's got a memory care, and they don't like that. This is independent living, and it's not, we have no services or anything like that. But these people move out of their house, move into our building. That opens up a house so a young family can come in and buy it. Because, well, we had that seminar, John. Nobody is building new construction homes. Nobody is developing any land. Very, very limited. And if they are, the homes are $800,000-$900,000.
Yeah, it's, I would concur. I mean, it's not absolutely pertinent to the, the specific land use request at hand, but there is some benefit to, you open up additional housing that's targeted towards the kind of the top of seniors that are maybe trying to get out of their traditional home. It can open up kind of downstream opportunities for people, which this area sorely needs, but that's kind of an aside to the request at hand.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody's objecting to the fact that it's senior living. It's the height and the density in the size of space and some of the other plans.
The density is low density. All you have to do is look across Highway 15, where Pachala is building his building. He's building 180 units there on a site that's around our size or maybe smaller, right across 15. And you can see it there, and that's what people do. They try to squeeze all these units on.
Yeah, but that's not in a single family and fourplex type neighborhood. It's keeping in the same kind of area, same
Right. The property is zoned for an apartment building.
I guess I'd like to know, what are you gonna do with all the snow removal? How are you gonna get rid of all that? And if you're talking affordable units, granite countertops and stuff like that, no, that's not cheap.
Right. As far as snow, just like we do in all of our other projects, I mean, if we get too much snow, we haul it away. That's what you do.
What's your plans right now to, on this private drive, get rid of the snow? Are you gonna plow it out the second, or is it gonna go on the south side of the, snow fence that's there, or in our backyards? What's the plan?
Well, the plan would be to push it to the side, and if we got too much, then we would haul it away. But that road is pretty wide. The road easement goes way out. That road is just a little bit of what the real road could be. And we're not planning on doing that. I'm just saying for snow. I mean, we'll haul the snow away if we have to.
Fence like that, you're just gonna blast it as high as you can against the wood fence, or what?
No, we wouldn't do that. Just, I mean, we have other developments, and when it builds up, we,
Let's get back on the point far as the variance. All we can control is the variance, far as height, parking spots. You know, the road, the water, everything else. The counselor, that's gonna have to be the one to decide that. We're stuck in just what we're allowed to do. Anybody else have any more questions, or?
There being none, Mr. Chair.
The council has to approve anything we do here.
No.
No, and the council can modify, they can, this is, I'm just gonna run down the way this works quick. I make a recommendation to the planning commission. The planning commission can choose to accept that, go with that recommendation. They can go against it, they can recommend changing it, they can recommend denying it. But they turn around and make a recommendation then to the city council. And then I weigh in with my thoughts, and then the planning, or excuse me, the city council can take that under advisement, and then they will review it on their own accord, and then they make the final decision. So it's not necessarily yes, yes, yes. It can be no, yes, or yes, no. It can go any of those ways.
Mr. Chair, I would move to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Public hearing closed at 7:52.
If you said you could get by with 49 feet, if we gave you 50, would you be happy? Because I don't see 49 feet to 55 feet. I don't see that 6 feet necessity.
I don't think they intend to use that. I think that you intended, John said he put that in there as a buffer, that,
Well, they'd have a 1 foot buffer. I mean, building is precise enough that they can get it down to inches. I've heard of a lot of negativity from the landowners, and I do think that some of that needs to be taken into consideration.
The request is for 55, up to 55 feet, so it's,
You can
That's what we're
modify
concerned.
that. You can go anywhere between the standard of of the district, which is 3 stories or 40 feet. You can go up to the 55 feet that's suggested. You can go anywhere in between. It's up to you.
And normally I would be against shrinking a parking lot, but in this case where you've already got water issues, shrinking that parking lot's gonna give you more green space for drainage. So that part I wouldn't have a problem with, but let's face it, vehicles are not getting smaller, they're getting bigger again. You're trying to stuff some of these big pickups into some of these parking spots, and with these elderly people, they need space to open their doors up. I know as an individual myself, having somewhat of a handicap, when I can't get my door open far enough, it gets to be a real chore to get in and out. I would make a motion that we grant the variance to 50 feet.
Second that.
We got a motion and a second to change the height to 50 feet. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Passed with all present at 50 feet. Working?
I'll move that we leave the parking, or that we make the variance to the parking, to shrink that parking lot down to 1.75 from the 2.5, and thus with the intentions of gaining more drainage.
I second that.
We got a motion and a second to change the parking to 1.75. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passed with all present.
Planning Commission members, just, I know I mentioned the intent would be initially to bring this to the upcoming city council meeting that would be scheduled for next Monday. But just given some of the questions that have come up, they're not necessarily variance connected, but just with drainage and some of those things, I would request just a little more time to clarify those things, just to reflect them in the report for the city council. So I'll probably move that to the next available meeting. I don't have a date on that, but I would suggest just keeping an ear to the rail for the city council agenda. You're welcome to attend. That there's not an open hearing, or excuse me, not necessarily a public hearing at that meeting, but the council does have the ability to let people speak at their discretion if they choose to. So you're certainly encouraged to attend, but since I don't have that date in front of me, I would suggest just keeping an eye on the city website for when that comes up, but it'll probably be a couple weeks out, usually on Monday. We're in a transition time with relocating City Hall right now, so that meeting is kind of in flux, but it might help just for me to get a little more time since to address some of those questions that, again, aren't necessarily variance specific, but sometimes it's good for us to take a step back and look at some of those aspects too and bring that to the council too, since it's a point of interest.
Staff update.
Planning Commission members, today will be our last meeting tonight, I should say, last meeting in this building. With City Hall temporarily relocating to the Public Works facility on 17th Avenue South. We will be vacating this building for entirety of construction. So we're going to be, again, operating out of the Public Works facility. But we are working with the school district to hold the necessary city meetings, particularly the city council meetings and planning commission meetings at the school district offices, at their offices on 2nd Street South. The old former, some of you may know it as the former Minnesota School Business Building across from the Honda dealer over there. They have the meeting room that they use for school board meetings that's a little bit more snug, but we'll make it work. So more details will be coming on that, but the biggest thing for you to know is that the intent is, we will try to reschedule our meetings to Mondays consistently. I'm hoping that works for you, but it's a little easier for the school district and coordinating meetings with them just to kind of let us have Mondays, versus Mondays and Tuesdays and different meetings for different nights. It minimizes interruptions for them. So I'll keep you posted on that, but our next meeting, date is yet to be determined. I don't have any pending applications. I don't know if we will be having a May meeting or not at this point, but I'll give you some guidance as we go, but there's a door on the eastern side of the building that will be for you and the public to come through. So stay tuned for more details, but that will be our temporary home for planning commission meetings for the duration, a year, give or take, maybe a little more, maybe a little less.
Mondays would actually work out better for me.
Good. I appreciate your flexibility, and hopefully the Mondays don't pose too much of an issue for anyone else, but if they do, I apologize, but it just was kind of what worked out best for scheduling purposes for everybody.
Was that likely starting in May if we have?
If we have a meeting, yep, it'll be in May. We are effectively out of City Hall as of May 2nd. We will be starting operations for City Hall admin and public safety and public works all at the Public Works facility on 17th Avenue South, starting May 5th. So everything's in progress right now, but most of the desk and equipment have been relocated. We're working kind of off folding tables with just our computers at the bare minimum right now. So we are in process. But that's all I have, so I'll keep you posted in further details, but maybe for the first meeting we have there, when we get that far, whatever date that is, maybe we can come a little bit early and get settled in, but largely it's the same. There's mics and they're set up for AV and everything. So we're meeting with them later this month to go through kind of an overview of the technology and everything, but we're working with them as far as the access for the doors and making sure that they lock up automatically when we leave and everything. So we're on kind of a timer system with them. So it won't be quite as comfortable, but we appreciate the school district and putting us up for a while, for the meetings at least.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Meeting closed, 8:01.